Alrighty.
Welcome, everybody, again to another wonderful episode of F Movie Podcast.
Very pleasant.
I'm your host today, Dylan Camacho. Today with me, we got Nathan, still sick.
You sound like you're on NPR.
Can't keep it.
Oh, is that what I'm going for this episode?
Sounds like NPR.
Oh,
Can't keep it, can't kick it.
Can't keep it. Can't keep it.
Having a hard time.
Yeah, this is a suggestion from our audio fans not to go full 11 in these podcast reviews. So for the ones on listening on audio only, you can check.
Introduce me, swine.
So also here, Mason Rector.
Hi.
He's the one second furthest from Nathan, who's sick, and Bryce Mel, also here with us.
Which is next to Nathan,
that's
which is
me.
also sick.
Yep, closest to Nathan. Yep. Nathan's sick. Also, I just want to say real quick that we have a best price guarantee, and I want to say this is an award to give to movies randomly. Just don't check the camera. So, Price, what are we talking about today, buddy?
Talk about Inglourious Basterds. My pick for this week.
You had an 8. Can you bring it back to a 7?
Nope. Cannot do that.
Damn.
Living life in an 8. Living life in an 8. Look. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to do the review for this movie because I've seen it probably the most, and I can just cut it down to brass tacks.
I'm waiting.
So,
Brad Tax.
So
That's
basically,
Brad Pitt.
Basically, there's like 3 main characters in this movie.
Hey.
You got Christoph Waltz, he's kind of like a secondary main character. He's not really. He's basically called the Jew Hunter, works for the Nazis, really good at finding Jews. At the beginning of the movie, he finds Shoshana and her family in the bottom of the basement. Shoshana is the only one who gets away. He tries shooting her. That's it. So then you got Brad Pitt, who's leading a group called the Inglourious Basterds, who just goes around killing Nazis. That's all they do, really. That's their whole motto is killing Nazis.
Yep.
And that's it. And then that's their group. And there's a little group. They're trying to assassinate Hitler, of course. They hear that he's going to be at the premiere of this movie, hosted at Shoshana's theater. The Bastards try to blow it up, but at the same time, Shoshana and her boyfriend try to set it on fire. And Daniel Bruhl, guy from last week, actually, he really tries really hard to get with Shoshana the whole movie. And he tries, doesn't, gets shot. He gets shot in return. That's it. That's the movie.
Guess that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to cut it down. It's a long movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot to go through.
It's a Tarantino flick, so there's some jumping around in time zones. There's a lot of movie. That's fair. It's a late movie.
And also, Hitler does.
Oh, yeah.
Hitler gets shot in the face a lot.
Hitler gets fucking murdered in this movie because historical depictions, not for Quentin
That
Tarantino.
shot of Eli Roth, slow motion,
He
just
got
shooting him in the
Abraham
face
Lincoln.
was
didn't
awesome.
he?
Yeah.
What?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
back of the head and in the theater, and then followed by a repeated shot. I mean, yeah.
They didn't shoot him in the back of the head.
No,
Hitler?
Then on the ground, and then
Well, more just that he was on the balcony.
Yeah,
and
balcony,
okay.
somebody
right,
comes
right.
in
He
and
got
just
shot.
shoots him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, it wasn't actually.
Point to point,
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln's killed, but all right.
I thought you meant like Hitler killed Lincoln. I was like, no.
That'd be interesting.
I want to go back to
Watching
that
Glory.
timeline.
Yeah. Wait, can we get Can we get Hitler from
Kung Fury?
Kung Fury
Yes.
against Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Yeah.
Is this
Come to me, Hollywood. I got
is this
the
a
script.
police?
Yeah.
Yes. Fuck you.
That'll be a movie that gets reviewed eventually.
Love that movie.
So anyway.
Of course, I love that movie.
All right.
9.5 out of 10 for me.
Jeez.
Sorry.
All right.
I love that movie.
Well, we can't do it now. Price already gave his view. So anyway.
Sorry.
Let's get into the movie. Christoph Waltz. Let me start off on this one. Okay, thanks, Dylan.
Go ahead.
So,
Good job, Dylan.
yeah. So Christoph Waltz, after rewatching, I've seen this movie before, then rewatching it the second time through, Christoph Waltz crushes it in that opening scene. From that point forward, you're just so encapsulated into, like, the tone is so perfectly set by his character in the first 20 minutes of that movie, where he comes in, he's pleasant, he's delightful, but it's so realistically grounded that you're like, no, you have to remember that the Nazis, although we just imagine them as killing machines for the Jews, which they were, but we're also human beings still, and a lot of people won't always do that. But, seeing him just get in there, be casual, likable, charismatic, and charming, but at the same time, just flips the switch and is extremely terrifying, and it's just, starts speaking English, and I'm assuming that they don't speak it.
Yeah.
Come on in there, girls, and then...
I'm going to broaden that a little bit and say not just Christoph Waltz. I think that whole scene is honestly one of the best scenes I've ever seen in movies. Honestly, I would say that. Like,
Wouldn't fight you on that.
It's incredible. Just the way like everything is shot, like you feel the suspense the entire time, even though they're just like exchanging pleasantries. You're like, why is like all this going on? Like they've already been here before, and then like it gradually pans down while they're talking. It just shows these terrified Jewish people underneath, like because. And now you know, like the farmer knows that they're there, of course, because he put them there. Because you learn that like they were neighbors, like right down the road. And then just that whole scene, and it's still even funny in that scene, like when he's like, "May I smoke my pipe as well?" He's like, "Please go ahead."
Pulls up this
Pulls out
gigantic
this just
pipe.
gratuitous pipe that's just something out of a cartoon.
Yeah.
And just oh man, everything about this scene.
That's the
I
Tarantino
love it.
licking out in it. Like,
Oh,
can
yeah.
I pull out my pipe?
It's just so excessive.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right, Christoph Waltz. I should know this, but I'm not sure if he didn't win an Oscar or something. He definitely should have. I would think he did because he
Might have been nominated.
obliterated this. I mean, every scene that he was in, I was just encapsulated with this character. Like he stole the screen every time he was in it because he would go from charming to just terrifying in an instant. I mean, best scene that I think exemplifies that is with the actress. Once you know, he's like, he finally finds out that she's a double agent or whatever, and
Yeah,
like
he
puts the
kills her.
shoe on, and she's like, "Well, what's gonna happen now?" And then he just like kind of smiles, and then just like gets demented and just chokes her to death in a very like, I know it's really gratuitous almost how they do that.
Best supporting actor to Christoph Waltz.
Oscar?
Yep.
Okay.
Oscar
I
wins.
figured that he would have. He would
Nomination
have
or
to.
He actually won that one.
Cool.
So yeah, they were nominated for like pretty much every other thing worth nominating on. But yeah, the only one that won was Christoph Waltz's performance.
Gotcha.
So again, makes sense. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh yeah, he's miles above every performance.
Yeah, he was
I would say
the best
everyone in this movie.
Yeah, even comparing it to like Brad Pitt and stuff like that. And I remember the funniest thing is whenever it transitions from that scene to go into the bastard scenes and it shows Brad Pitt. Like I remember watching this and saying out loud, Brad Pitt is just a fucking movie star. Like
Yeah, he
in
is.
the best way, like he comes on screen and he's just magnetic. Like he has that everything about him. He delivers like just great. Now, granted, he doesn't bring like a certain like I'm going to use the term gravitas for this one, like where Christoph Waltz's character brings in all of, like the tone and everything with that. Like Brad Pitt comes in there and you're just like start to finish enjoyment. You're like, okay, this is the joy part. This is the dopamine part of this movie. Where I'm like, there's just nothing but pleasure, and that doesn't do anything exceptionally well. Like I wouldn't say like this is a movie where he shows his true finesse as an actor, but boy, do you enjoy him whenever he's on screen. Every second of it is.
I
just
think
solid.
this. I don't know if I would say starting with this movie, but around this point, I would say in his career is when like he starts solidifying that like Brad Pitt kind of persona, you know? Because like we watched Snatch
I
a
would
while
say
ago.
Brad Pitt like 2.0 persona with it because there's
Yeah,
definitely two faces.
That's what I'm
to
saying.
it. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
before, like he did like Snatch, and I was like, I had no idea he could even do something like this.
He's in Fight Club.
Because
Yeah,
because
Fight Club, too.
because like now like he's just like he plays the same kind of role in like almost every movie you see him in,
Uh-huh.
which is charming, but like it's very one note. And I mean, he can act.
He plays the now this was the beginning
He's in
of Brad
Oceans.
Pitt's. Yeah, that's true. This is kind of the beginning of Brad Pitt's like senior run as an actor, so to speak, where it's just like I'm in my 40s, probably even 50s. I'm good enough to play a great old man who just knows how to nail these roles like on this one. So like just charismatic, old gruff man, not even really old gruff, but like, just charismatic older guy who you just enjoy to see, and he's just a veteran actor on that. Because you look across and there's and this movie's filled with plenty of other talented actors, but
A lot.
just for him to hold the scene on it and just no matter what, like you have other random ones. Sam Levine, in there in the background, he's in there.
Was Jason Schwartzman in that?
Was
Was he one of the Italian dude? I don't think he was in
Yeah.
that. I don't know. It might have been somebody else.
I want to say something.
Eli Roth was one of the Italian.
Eli
guys.
Roth.
Yeah, I don't
Eli
know.
Roth was
I don't
the
know about the other one.
Yeah.
And Michael Fassbender's even in it for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, Fassbender's
and
in
it was
for 30
amazing.
minutes. And Fassbender
Yeah, we
does a
should have
great
sold
job,
him
too.
short. I would say like it would probably be Christoph Waltz and then him because he plays this ultra suave like British guy trying
Yeah.
to like do something and then just makes that one slip up in that bar scene, which again, I think we'll go into the bar scene.
Yeah,
we need to go to the bar scene because I feel like when I picked this movie, I was like, this is going to either land in one or two camps.
See, here's what's interesting about this movie, though. Like, as long and in depth as this movie is, it's 5 scenes to me. Like,
it's not much.
There's Christoph Waltz's
Yeah.
scene in the beginning. There's just Inglourious Basterds just seems like one long scene. Anytime they're in in a scene, just feels like a continuation of a little tiny movie. You have the Chris Hemsworth or Fassbender's like stunt at the bar. Then you have the theater. Really, it's only 4 scenes.
I was gonna say the theater's this long.
Yeah, the
you're
theater.
saying a setting. Well, when you're saying the theater, you're saying more of a setting than a scene.
Yeah,
because
more.
You're conflating Shoshana, and then like the whole arc with the German soldier with
No. So what I'm saying
climax.
is that like everything in between is not the purpose of the movie. Like I'm jumping way ahead to say that these are the parts that like if you were going to cut anything, like the meat of this movie is 5 main scenes. Like, and sure, it's settings as well. It's just like
So you're saying the other parts were just building the
yeah, they're all
supports
builds
for the
up
main
with
scenes.
that. It has. If I had to describe it like this, if this was a stage play, like this would be very much Act 1, this, boom, this. And then anything in the middle, totally like you could cut.
I mean,
then
it's
Act
literally
2
cut
goes
into
to that.
chapters.
Right, exactly. So the fact that it's cut into chapters and has it that way, then it's already kind of getting the point. But I don't want to be too long on this point because I'm already losing some of the hosts on this one.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is there's about 5 main scenes that play out for like 30 minutes each as their own little mini films put together into this, I think.
I'll agree with that because, like, the bar scene I feel like was really long. The theater scene in total was really long.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's a bad thing because,
No.
like, there was that one part with the Inglourious Basterds where, like, what was his name? Like, the guy with the baseball bat?
Oh,
It was
the
Eli
Jew
Roth.
bear.
The Bear Jew.
Bear Jew.
It's
Is it
definitely
Bear
Bear
Jew?
Jew.
It's the Bear
The
Jew.
Bear
Yeah.
Jew comes
On
out and
movie
does
trivia
his
show, and they
thing.
flipped
Like,
it as an answer. I'll get to that.
like that part was cool because it showed, like, intimidation, I guess. But
Yeah.
it was, I'm with you. I think that first part was awesome. And I think it set the tone for the rest of the movie. And it gave you that shock factor of like, oh, okay, this guy's actually a psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
You could lend him your tools, but you'll probably never get them back. And if you ask for them back, he'll kill you. Like, you know, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I'm with you. I forgot that it was actually broken up into chapters.
Yeah. So it's just one of those movies where after I rewatched it, I remembered why I don't remember so much of it. And it's the exact thinking of what I was even just saying. I was just like, going back, I'll probably remember the beginning scene. I'll remember the bar scene. I'll remember parts of the theater because that one goes on for a while. And then I'll probably forget most things in between. And it's not because I don't like it, but it's just because so much emphasis is put into those ones.
Did you forget the ending?
Well, no, the ending, whatever. Killing Hitler and everybody, that part will stick. And then, of course, cutting up Christoph
And
Waltz
driving
stuff.
out and like that
No.
whole scene where like they like double cross Christoph Waltz stuff. I love that.
Honestly, I totally forgot about that until I was watching the second time. I was like, oh yeah, he does do a double cross here, doesn't he?
I think that was the easiest double cross in the world. Also, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that it
Oh,
seems
yeah.
like it
you
was
knew that was
broken
Yeah.
up into chunks because they were speaking in a foreign language 70% of the time.
Yeah. Which
Maybe 60% of the time.
I wasn't opposed to. I mean,
No, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
I just think that helps that case of like, holy hell, this movie really was only this, then this, then this, and then this.
Yeah. I think there's an interesting point about the language piece to this movie as well, though, is because so much of it is not spoken in English.
Maybe it's more authentic.
And yes, but also it's one of those things that I think will make people forget this movie quicker because I think about like when I'm thinking back on movies, I hear that dialogue, you know, like
You don't hear this dialogue.
yeah. Just last week we were talking about Rush, and I'm thinking about Niki Lauda, and I can think about all the times just Niki Lauda says anything, and I'm just like his ass in the seat. I have the best ass. I can feel it, and I hear that dialogue, and I'm to that scene. But with this one, it's just a language I don't speak. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I remember what they say. I just don't remember them actually saying it because it wasn't in the...
The only thing I remember is Brad Pitt speaking Italian.
Bonjour!
Yeah, that was it.
Grazie.
Grazie. Yeah.
And I can't. What was his name?
Yeah, grazie.
What was
Yeah.
his name that like he was like had to keep repeating?
No, you put me on the spot.
Because that part was like probably the funniest to
Was
me.
it tortellini? No, it's not tortellini. Is it?
No.
That's a
It wouldn't have been
food.
Mussolini. That would have been the present, but no, it wouldn't.
Anyway.
Margariti.
Margariti.
No, let me hear the ring in it.
Margariti.
He kept saying the exact same
Yeah.
thing over and
He's like,
over.
and your name, Dominic the Coco. One more time. Dominic the Coco.
Then the last guy just crushes it on the first one. He's
Yeah.
like, that's what I'm
That's
talking
good.
about.
Which that was a good little moment too, was when they're in the theater and like he's like, "What did you do to your leg?" And she's like, "Oh, mountain climbing accident," and he just loses his shit in there with everyone around it because like nobody knows. He knows.
He knows all of this
Obviously, like it's so clear that he understands the entire time everything
that's going on. He just wants to
Like,
see it play out.
The, the moment with the lady, the one that runs the theater, whenever they're
Shoshana.
in that,
Shoshana.
whenever they're in that restaurant, and he's like ordering milk and stuff. Like he knows the entire time who all of these people are.
I disagree
feel
with
like.
that. I don't
You
think he
so?
knows. I don't
That's
think he knows her
happenstance?
because like I think it's complete happenstance. I don't believe because if he knew who she was, like she'd be dead. I mean, he's the Jew hunter. He's totally for Hitler and stuff. I know you're probably thinking like, well,
To Nathan's
he's
point
conspiracy
in the
stuff.
point in the
because
narrative
I feel like as it was going along, he was seeing all the pieces line up in a way that would work out for him, and he also
Right.
saw the writing on the
I
wall.
think
that
only when he saw
Nazis
the
were
Bas-
not going to win.
I think only when he saw the Bastards at the premiere with the obvious double agent.
Do you think that's when he hatched
Yeah.
the whole plan?
Well, he
'Cause
knew
it was like
it wasn't like a big plan. Like he knew that they were there to kill Hitler. He didn't know there was a second plan to kill Hitler.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't know about that, sure. But I feel like he probably understood that things were going poorly to begin with. Because
wanted to get
at
on the
one
winning
point
side.
they talk about, Hitler's talking about how he needs to go to the premiere because he needs to, like, rally the morale of his troops as the English are beginning to invade and take Normandy.
Especially in opposition to the Bastards' effect on everybody recently as well. So, yeah. This
So I think it was really, like, making it obvious, like, things are about to turn, and he knows it.
I kind of
and
like
he
that.
wants to be responsible for it.
The movie's ambiguous with if he knows or not, though. Like, no matter what, like, you guys, we can. I think there's valid arguments
Like
on both
that,
sides,
that
but
scene, you're not sure, but it does feel to me like he probably did that on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
that seems like a thing he would do.
it feels inclined. I almost want to say it's on happenstance, but as the movie plays out the way it does, he feels like too smart of a character to let something like that slip. But in reality, also, if I'm thinking back to that scene, and we're using realistic thinking for a Quentin Tarantino movie, which is a dark rabbit hole, but realistically, he only saw the back of her head as she was running at a certain point, like cross. So for him to automatically say, "Well, yeah, I knew that was her,"
And she
directly.
used a fake name too.
Right, and she had a fake name, and all the story was all well enough to get by. Now, granted, if they added any scene that was like that, he showed that he followed up with that, and he could just know immediately that, oh, this is clearly going to be this girl, and that's why I'm involved in all this to begin with, then 100%. But I think that the movie intentionally wants you to be like, I'm not sure. Like, he's the smartest person in every room he goes into, but in that one scene that makes you question, okay, is he smarter or is Shoshana smarter for getting away and being able to do it right in front of him? So, but I think the movie's better for not telling us, if I'm thinking honestly on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
But-
makes for a very good, intense moment.
Oh, yeah.
regardless.
Yeah.
And like just her come apart as soon as he walks away too. That was
Can't
very
wait,
well done.
wait
Yeah.
for the cream.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that in this movie. I know it's kind of like a Tarantino kind of thing, but he lets the characters breathe a lot. Like, there's just like a lot of dialogue that like you just get to know the characters without them being like, "This is my personality. This is what I'm like."
Yeah.
Like, I'm like this hardcore party boy. Look, it's because I'm plowing Natalie Dormer in the first 5 minutes of the movie. That's who I am.
We're back on Rush, everybody.
Hey.
Put it in reverse. We're back in last week's movie review.
Like everybody here gets their own breathing space. Everybody, like all the characters, get to breathe and have good conversations, which that's what I watch this movie for, is the conversations. Like
Yeah.
not so much the plot. Like I just enjoy listening to him talk, which is why I love the beginning scene and the bar scene so much.
In typical Tarantino fashion, like the dialogue is going to be like up there for like reasons why you're watching and rewatching this movie. But yeah, strangely enough, I don't remember seeing a whole lot of feet in this movie. Where's the feet? That's the game. Is the Quentin Tarantino?
Well,
Where's the
whenever
feet?
he's
The
putting
shoe.
the shoe on.
Ah, there it is.
That's
You're
a lot.
right.
That's a lot of feet. in
That's
that scene.
intimate feet in that scene. Yep.
Yeah, and
it's
his
always there.
insistence, like, put your foot
Yeah.
on my knee.
On your
And you know,
Yeah.
that's not actually Christoph Waltz. That's Quentin Tarantino wearing a Christoph Waltz mask. Tarantino is very good at these foot scenes now.
And I told Mason after we watched the movie that I just noticed, this is like, I don't even know how many times I've seen this, probably like 5 or 6 times, but there's a quick shot like when it's going into the basement of the bar scene. It shows, I think it shows before it even shows that blonde actress, I forgot her name, but like it shows like a shot of her feet. Like there's a whole shot like devoted to her shoe,
Uh-huh.
which I
I
guess
think
her
it's
feet.
like a pan up or something.
Yeah, it's a pan up, but
Yeah.
she's going to go into the
and
steps.
it, and it
right?
shows
Yeah.
like her shoe, which again is left, which leads to Christoph Waltz finding it and like, oh, well, she was here. Which I think is just a neat little like callback.
I'm
I
blanking.
guess.
What is that
Yeah.
actress's name? That's going to kill me because she's.
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't. She's not very familiar.
No.
That one actually. Hold on, I'll pull it up. But anyway, as I'm looking up her name, she is actually a very extremely talented actress. Like the scenes that she's in, honestly, Fassbender, as great as he is, and I love Fassbender. I think she steals the show from him during the bar scenes for the most part. Like, so on the back and forth, and whenever the high-ranking officer comes over and joins the table, and like up until the gunpoint moment. Now, the gunpoint moment, yeah, Fassbender stole the scene back, but everybody's just cutting along and stuff like that. And she's like, no, and she comes it back and she just charms like the whole bar scene all the way through. She's the Brad Pitt of that scene. How I've been describing Brad Pitt, like she does that job excellently for that levity sake. And then yeah, Fassbender, I've got my gun pointed at you. Well, that's interesting because I've had my gun pointed at you this whole time.
That makes another one.
So-
Say goodbye to your Nazi
Yeah.
boss.
I love how that scene devolves. It just, let's just start killing everybody. Yeah.
And you can tell, like, the moment right when it shifts, when he holds up the 3, and, like, you see, like, his face change, and then the girl actress, she's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she freaks out at that moment because she's like, oh, well, they're probably dead now. And then that scene after when, like, they're in the clinic or whatever, it's like, you didn't tell us it's going to be... No, it was before that. We were talking about, like, it wasn't going to be in a basement.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't have to be Stonewall Jackson to know not to have a meeting in a basement.
So I think that's gonna make us go into the next segment of
Do it, Mason.
fit,
Do it.
thin, or perfectly fat. Is
Fit.
that right?
Perfectly
Oops.
fit, idiot.
I feel like
You're
every
forcing
time
it.
it's-
You're
yeah.
forcing
It's
it.
always a little different. Anyways, is this movie too long? Is it too short? Or is it right in the middle? Did it drag on? Do you feel like you had to sort of chew through it a little while? And that's pretty much what it is. Nathan, you want to go first again?
He always gets to go first.
Bryce, you
yeah.
wanna go
No,
first?
no, Nathan's going first. He's already been designated.
All right.
I was like,
Diane
it's
Kruger. Love her. Go ahead.
Sure.
I mean, this movie you could definitely argue is a little fat. There's a lot of extra scenes that didn't have to be there, like the Nazi getting to run back and like basically tell Hitler how bad the Inglourious Basterds are. That didn't really need to be there. There's lots of things like that peppered throughout the movie that were unnecessary, but they were all enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I don't care. Like you could argue that it's fat. But
I'm happily chubby over here.
To me, I'll take the full meal.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it come with dessert?
Much
It's
like me
yeah,
after 2
throw a
bowls
little
of chicken.
more on.
Yeah. Takes seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's fit enough for me.
Is it my turn then?
Nope, it's fine. So,
Stop looking at me.
So yeah, just like me after 2 bowls of chili, I'm happily plump on this one.
Oh, yeah,
This
2
is-
bowls of chili again this week.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. It's a weird diet he's got
Well,
going on every Friday night for some reason.
2
It's
bowls.
Friday. It's definitely Friday.
Gotta make sure we wear all the same
100%
stuff.
Friday.
You might think that we filmed this back to back with the Rush review.
Nope. You'd be wrong.
You're mistaken.
Get off. Get off of here.
Yeah. Yeah, what Nathan said. I mean, it's Quentin Tarantino, and Tarantino loves to just let moments. Now, here's the thing. Part of his charm is that he lets moments sit, and I think that does a lot for the performance of the actors and everything in the films and everything. But at the same time, it does create a sense of this movie's longer than it needs to be sometimes, and it's the splitting hairs things because it's a director choice that serves the movie. But at the same time, yes, I enjoy it, and also if you were gonna cut it, yeah. Maybe just cut the suspense from 10 seconds to 7 seconds of this.
Yeah.
Like,
Just give me every little ounce
Yeah.
of, extra little bit I could take off.
right.
That's fine.
I can't think of any. If I had to think of any scenes if I'm cutting, it's Shoshana's relationship with her boyfriend. I think a lot of that stuff is extra. That's the part. And also, it's the parts that I cared least about, but that I don't think they needed to flesh him out or flesh out the thing. Like her, she already has plenty enough reason to want to kill him. I think that's fine. They go maybe a little bit into it, but they sat on it for a little bit longer, and they wanted to make him just have more screen time.
You're talking about the black guy?
Yeah.
Or this movie star. Okay.
No, the black guy,
She
her
was
boyfriend.
definitely not dating the
Yeah.
the German guy.
Daniel
No.
Brühl, you
No.
give all the time. You give all the time to Daniel Brühl. Vicky Lauda is the best. So, yeah. So all of her boyfriend scenes and all that stuff, I thought was the excessive part. If you're cutting anything, I cut there. But really, that's about it. All the scenes just drag on longer than they probably should, but it's enjoyable. So who am I to cut it? So,
Yeah.
pleasantly chubby.
You want to go next? You want me to?
Bryce, you go ahead, buddy.
Why we skip? I don't care. I mean, I'm gonna rehash what they said. I mean, I agree with everything they said. Like, I'm glad that they indulge, which is what I said earlier. I'm glad they indulge in these moments and like let it breathe, and it's enjoyable to watch at the same time. Again, with Dylan, I would cut some with the Shoshana and her boyfriend. I didn't care for that. I didn't think it was necessary. Just like Dylan said, she has all the reason to want to kill them anyway. Like, she saw her whole family murdered right next to her, and she barely escaped death herself. Like, we didn't need any more motivation. We didn't need anybody else there. Yeah, I agree. Just, she's like the weakest part of the movie for me, which I love this movie, but I just didn't really like her character that much. I wish they cut her screen time down. Like, if she had like 30 minutes for her arc, I wish it was more like 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
Those numbers are probably not accurate, but I just wish it was cut a little bit.
I'm gonna go with a little bit fat too. I think.
Oh, I'm not saying it's fat though.
I'm gonna say a little chubby.
A little chubby. No, not
You
chubby.
I kind of compare this movie to The Hateful Eight a little bit, where it's it's a lot of those long dialogues that sort of pay off. I think this one pays off a lot more.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's got the exact same amount of like, when is something gonna happen? You remember like in that first like 15 minutes when they shot up an entire I want more of that, please. And there's these long droughts. But I don't know, I can't really pick anything. All of you guys said some of those parts that could have probably been cut. But again, if you're getting Quentin Tarantino, you're getting a movie like this, don't watch it when you're sleepy because there are some lull moments.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So.
Well, I would say too though that what was it?
Shoshana.
Shoshana, yeah, not Diane Kruger.
I think that having like all of her scenes are important because it builds.
You had to have the theater.
It builds a personal revenge into it. The Inglourious Basterds and their whole shtick is not a very personal revenge that you can like
Latch
really
on
relate
to.
with.
Yeah.
Like other than just that objective, like Nazis are bad, we kill Nazis, isn't this fun?
Mhm.
But hers
Cheerio.
was so visceral and like it starts with her and it ends with her as far as that whole arc of I don't know.
I get
personally
that. It's
think
got
it
more of
was
a
good
pull
be
to
in
it
there.
than Brad Pitt and his Eli Roth minions.
Yeah, narratively speaking, it's more poetic for her to start and finish the movie as like that's her story in a sense. With
Yeah.
that, yeah. Inglourious Basterds, as much as we love them and enjoy them, they do like if you're looking at it from a strictly narrative standpoint, just looking at the story as a story, you're kind of just shoehorning them in for the action and the fun and the star power. Like you're like, in reality, this movie could have easily just been her story, start to finish, but. As you can tell, those are the parts that were like, ugh. And I think Quentin was like, I need Brad Pitt. Let's make this action.
Yeah.
Brad, what are you doing?
And definitely as a story, it's like you're right, poetic that
Yeah.
the one Jewish girl that escapes at the very beginning
Is the one
is the one that
Ultimately kills him, yeah.
kills all of
Yeah.
the
The high
German
ranking
leadership.
officers.
The high. What's the high?
the high command.
Yeah. What's
The
the
SS.
no High Rhine or something?
The Third
Third
Reich.
Reich. Third Reich. Yeah. There we
Yeah.
go. That's the term.
History major. That's all the use I got out of that.
That's it, and that's the use. That's where prices use becomes totally valid and wasted. All right, so the scores then.
Okay.
Okay.
Go first.
Mason,
go.
start us up.
This movie's a 7 for me. So, embarrassingly enough, about halfway through this movie, I actually looked at price and I was like, is this based on a true story or like what's happening? Because like
Wait,
I got a big laugh.
swear,
We didn't talk about this. Who had not seen this movie previously?
Oh, that is true.
I've never seen
That's
that.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Because it
But
was
then
from
I remember I pitched it to Dylan.
2007.
I had totally forgotten it except for like a scene in the beginning.
Which is
remember
because
it
most of the
well.
time, most of the time we would
Yeah.
never do that. But
Yeah,
he
yeah.
said like I hadn't seen it in a while. I was like, I love this movie.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go back to it
Yeah.
for a while because I actually.
Which I think that's fair. I think we could do other movies.
I think if we strictly
that
don't even
does,
remember.
that does add some funny context.
Right?
To you being
So-
like, is this like historic or is
Because
like,
Coming
it
off
was-
a Rush last week, we're like,
Yeah.
we only watched historically factual
Right,
movies.
yeah. So at this point, like the only thing that had happened was this like Jew hunter guy like shot up a basement, which probably happened a billion times back
Probably.
in that time.
Yeah.
And like this bandit group, this rebellious group of like American, Jews are trying to kill Nazis. It was all probably
Like, all
factual,
fairly
like,
grounded,
It could have happened.
but you should have remembered it was Tarantino.
It was Tarantino
Yeah.
plus it was like Brad Pitt being overly American cowboy style.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was maybe 8 minutes after that, just crazy shit started happening. I was like, okay, so Hitler's gonna be in this theater where they're just gonna set it to fire. The only thing that I don't quite understand why they did it this way, Price just said that it was just crazy timing. There were two plots to kill Hitler in this movie.
Mhm.
They didn't completely attach themselves to one either. Like it was a fair try at both. Like they had explosives and they had this, these record tapes or whatever that were just going to burn this
I mean,
place down.
Ultimately, both happened.
They
Yeah,
did
arguably
both
both
happen,
completely-
but I thought it was weird that they decided, like, I guess they both had motives to be there, which just piled onto Hitler was a bad dude. So, like,
Yeah.
multiple people wanted to kill him. But I did think it was a little bit strange to have two different plot lines to kill him all happen at the same time. in the same
I
place.
feel like
Yeah.
it was to drive the stories together because
I agree.
Tarantino likes to drive
Likes to
everything
do that,
together
yeah.
at some point. It's all these different stories that weave into one point,
Yeah.
right? And that's like you had to have two plots to kill them to get them both there.
Technically,
like,
there was
really.
3 almost too, because by the time Christopher Waltz
Christoph.
Waltz, he ended up having his soldier guys like turn the whole thing too, and that was
Yeah.
kind of the third party that wanted to kill him. while
No,
he was there.
there was no way they were not going to kill him. They were
No.
like, he was like, if I allow you to do it, it's basically me killing him.
Yeah.
And they're like,
He's
yeah,
like,
I
this
guess so.
only
Yeah.
happens if I get the credit for it. And
But
if I don't
that's-
get the credit for it,
That's
you
what
all
I
are
mean,
just going to
though.
get it.
Like
'Cause
that's
he-
pretty much a third. Like he didn't
Yeah.
plan to do it the whole time, but at the same time,
But at the
that
time,
was-
it all kind of works out to be.
there's 3 people now
Yeah.
piling onto the "Let's kill Hitler" train.
Let me
which, I don't know if I thought
let
it
me
was
get you
full
behind the
screen.
scenes, Mason. All right, this is how
Okay.
Quentin Tarantino makes this movie.
I
He
was
puts a-
behind the scenes when
he-
that black guy flicked the
Yeah.
match.
He puts a big circle that says "Kill Hitler," and he draws an arrow and he says "Romantic, great movie starting Shoshana and a total revenge
Yeah.
story about one Jew,
Yeah.
And he says- about one single Jew," and he says, "I like this. Let's do this 6 other times." And then he did the
Schindler's
Bastards.
List was kind of like that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, so yeah, I agree.
Schindler's List was better than this movie. I will say that. Not that it's an argument.
What?
Yeah.
2 very different movies.
Totally different.
I would rather watch that movie and it's 3 hours versus watching this movie again.
Schindler's
and
List
it's
was my
2
first pair of
hours.
movie boobs I saw in high school, though.
That's,
Wow.
Fun fact.
That's
Anyway,
like saying I'd rather watch Titanic than like The Backyardigans or something. Like they're 2 totally different movies.
wait, is there like a warrior type movie about boats?
Maybe.
Well, we're gonna find out next week, everybody.
There's battleships with Rihanna.
Yep, that's
Not the same. But anyway, scores, guys.
Smash,
Scores.
smash.
Nathan, go ahead, buddy.
I'm up next. So you gave it a 7. I'm gonna go like 9.
Okay.
Oh!
I really do like this movie quite a bit. It's not
So
it's not a
close.
10. It's
So
not
close.
perfect,
Yeah.
but it's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Alright.
We're looking at Nathan like, you got any more? He was like, I enjoy it.
He said his piece
All right.
earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Just said it.
We covered all
I
that.
get it.
Nazis.
You
Yeah,
gotta
they
kill
killed Nazis. Dylan, I'll take this next one.
Marguerite.
Nope, I'm following him because I have the same score. I'm at a 9 as well.
That's embarrassing.
I love this movie. I have it on Blu-ray and DVD for some reason, 2 separate copies.
Uh-huh.
I love this movie. I watched it all the time when I was in high school just for nostalgia, but again, I've watched it now to see how I felt about it because I did the same thing with Thanksgiving. Thought I was going to give that like a 9 and might have given it like a 6 or something. So like nostalgia didn't fall through, but I still love this movie in 2019. Yeah, I did just take this. Suck it. Yeah,
Wow, Price.
9. I loved it. Not perfect, like he
I
said.
hate to sink this ship a little bit. Now we're on ship references. This is weird. All right.
Battle ship.
Getting back
Battle
to
ship.
nautical stages.
Rihanna.
Never watched it, did you?
No.
Absolutely not.
We're never going to watch it.
If they're just raving at each other the whole time, I'll watch it.
Who?
Battleship.
Battleships.
Oh, I thought you meant Rihanna.
I meant Rihanna and
I thought you
somebody.
meant Rihanna and somebody else.
Battleship and Rihanna.
No, the
John Rihanna.
pegs come down. To
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
aliens. That's all I know.
Is that? I'm not watching this movie.
Just like
This movie's an 8.5.
Yay!
feels like aliens. What is this, Cloverfield?
Right. Yeah, this-
Needless insertion of aliens.
Now, perfect insertion of aliens, which was my nickname in high school. But no,
I
listen.
don't know anything about that.
This movie's an 8.5. It's super great. I forgot it the first time, came back. I love the performances. All that's great. I do wonder how much I'm going to forget again in the future with it, but it's Tarantino, so
We'll watch it again.
probably, and I'll be like, wow, I really enjoyed it again on the third watch. Like,
You remember that ending I said I forgot the first time? Yeah, I forgot it again.
Yeah. Who knew they killed Hitler, right?
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, it's an 8.5. I enjoy it. It's Tarantino. It's Tarantino doing Tarantino things, and all the stars in it are just absolute stars. Fun fact: Sam Levine was in the movie. He's a background person. He's one of the Inglourious Basterds. Also was Movie Trivia Schmodown singles and teams champion. That's a plug for a show that you aren't watching, but you should. Go check out Movie Trivia Schmodown on YouTube.
No, you don't.
Here you go.
Do
There's
they
gonna be-
sponsor us?
unofficially?
Then we don't sponsor them.
Well, we aren't officially sponsoring them either, so it's fine. We'll just drop plugs.
I do like how you said like this is Tarantino being Tarantino, but I feel like he's almost kept a little bit more in check here. Unlike Hateful Eight, I feel like he indulges himself to the fullest, which I love. Hateful Eight, that's my favorite movie of his. Which I feel like that's him like.
Over this?
So you
No,
say
being
that,
indulgent.
and here's my big thing
Mhm.
with it, and we will come back to this
Sure.
sooner than he thinks, is that Kill Bill is the defining, pristine, maximum
See what you did?
execution
Do you
of
see
Quentin
what you
Tarantino.
did?
1 and 2 all together, and we will see it coming soon-ish.
Sure.
I mean, I'd like to.
Yeah, we
We should watch it so it cancels it.
Oh yeah, let's go and watch it now.
No, I'm not.
Good
I
luck.
mean,
I own it, but nah.
It's going to be a double feature. That's when we're
What?
going to get to double feature weeks.
Oh,
Okay, well that's not for a while.
No,
Nathan,
that's coming
you
here
already
really
did your
soon.
score.
We've all done our
Alright,
scores.
That's it.
yeah, we've all
That's
done
our show.
it.
The battery's dying. We didn't just film this back to back with Rush. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
He's got to pick his movie.
I gotta.
You gotta calm
pick the
down.
movie.
Oh yeah, hang on. He's got to pick
Yeah,
his.
we got Nathan's movie.
Movie.
Sorry, guys.
Everybody's waiting with bated breath for Nathan's movie.
Hey, all right.
Real quick,
whatever.
are you sitting down? Please find the nearest seat for his movie.
Are your socks on? Because they will be knocked off here shortly.
Just wait. This movie is early '80s,
Yes.
really long
Yes.
and obscure and weird.
What is it?
Mostly.
It is 1981's Excalibur.
Ta-da!
The sock came off.
Oh, God.
They have been knocked off.
Finish him.
Why'd you knock your sock off?
That pick is just so out of this world.
Yeah,
Uh,
completely.
It kind of
Get it?
almost seems like someone who had picked Monty Python maybe encouraged this a little bit, maybe spun this into existence.
Oh, you know,
Did I?
there's a little bit to that. Yeah,
You
because
absolutely
after watching
did.
Monty Python, I definitely was thinking, I like
Okay,
Excalibur.
maybe I'll like it.
I'm picking Excalibur.
There is in no way this is not related to that. As I was watching, yeah, it's all good.
Normally, like before these, we ask each other, like, "Hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this?" To make sure that nobody's seen
He
it.
knew.
He didn't even
Oh
ask.
yeah, I didn't even ask.
He knew no one had seen it.
He's like, ain't no one of you have seen this movie, and if you
I
have,
haven't even seen this movie.
there's one person that bets with that. Yeah,
Real polite
Yeah.
to be using your phone on stream, by the way.
I'm checked out. That's our
Well,
show, everybody.
Next week.
That's it.
Go home. Get out of here.
Go, dum dum.
Here's the door.